evening, everyone. Authorities in Florida say a Fort Worth woman believed to have been kidnapped last spring has been found dead.
Remains discovered late last week were identified today as those of 24-year-old Denise Dansby of Bedford. Texas News 5's Mark Ralstead has details.
Denise Dansby had been missing for 7 months. The 24-year-old computer consultant from Fort Worth and Bedford went to Daytona Beach Shores, Florida, alone in May for a vacation. On her first day at this hotel, she disappeared.
Oh, it seems like a nightmare.
The woman's parents, Shirley and Robert Dansby of Bedford, did media interviews and hired a private investigator. They undertook an exhaustive search, making several trips to the Daytona Beach area, trying to find people who might have seen their daughter. Police nationwide were notified of Dansby's disappearance, classified as a probable kidnapping. In June, Fort Worth police discovered that someone was using the woman's credit card in Tarrant County, forging her signature, but there was no break in the case. Then, last Thursday, a hunter found skeletal remains in some woods near Osteen, Florida, more than 30 miles from where Dansby had disappeared. Investigators found several pieces of the woman's jewelry.
Items that were recovered initially were a pair of earrings and a necklace. All three items are clearly shown in old photographs of Ms. Dansby.
Police also found the woman's University of North Texas class ring with her initials engraved on it, and a preliminary examination of dental records matches Dansby. Police are treating the case as a murder, although they have no specific cause of death and, like the past 7 months, no leads in the case of Denise Dansby. Mark Ralstead, Texas News 5.
After nearly a year and several attempts, it looks as if Texas lawmakers may be close to resolving the workers' compensation insurance crisis. The House today approved a bill to overhaul the current system. It's the most expensive in the country and benefits are low. Now, the Senate is expected to pass the House version tomorrow, but lawmakers know all too well that wrangling and angry opponents could cause a filibuster. They have until midnight Wednesday. That's when the special session ends. Now, this is the third time that they have tried to reach an agreement.
Well, some businesses say the legislature is moving much too slow. Those businesses are pulling out of Texas. They say the high cost of insurance is running them out. The latest, a company in Fort Worth. Homegrown Justin Boot Company is taking more jobs to Missouri. Texas News 5's Mike Snyder has the story.
My grandfather started making boots a little over 100 years ago at the Spanish Foot Factory.
Since 1879, workers at the Justin Boot Company have been hammering out true Western cowboy boots from the town where the West begins. But because of high workers' comp insurance rates, this could also be the end of Justin Boots in Fort Worth.
We're not screaming wolf, we're moving out.
In fact, John Justin has already taken his father's name and boot company to the state of Missouri, and in 3 weeks will open a third factory there, employing another 175 people.
There's other jobs that we'd rather have most people work, but we just cannot afford to manufacture in Texas. Our workman's comp here is about, Texas is about 5 times as much as we do.
Justin now has 650 people working for him making boots up in Missouri, compared to only 330 working here in Fort Worth. And that saves him about $500,000 a year in workers' comp insurance payments.
We bought another building, which will be our fourth factory in Missouri.
And if the legislature doesn't do something quickly to lower workers' comp rates, Justin could move the rest of his Fort Worth jobs into that new Missouri factory.
I'm a Texan through and through. I love Texas. But for manufacturing, we have to compete with other people in other parts of the country, and we just need to make it here.
The thought of having your Texas cowboy boots made in Missouri is about the same as having your picante sauce made in New York City. But before you get a rope for him, John Justin suggests you get a rope for some members of the Texas legislature, who he claims have already hung Texas businesses out to flap in the wind. Mike Snyder, Texas News 5.
President Bush has joined forces with Mothers Against Drunk Driving to make the holidays a little safer. The president has declared this National Drunk and Drugged Driving Awareness Week. Local members of MAD held a candlelight vigil in Dallas tonight. They're hoping Bush's proclamation and tonight's vigil will help bring attention to this problem. Meantime, students on college campuses are also hoping people will drink safely this holiday season. The Texas Designated Driver Program encourages students to choose one person who will not drink and be responsible for driving home. SMU, TCU, the University of North Texas, and the University of Dallas are a few schools in this area taking part in this program.
Other matters in the news, a freight train slammed into a van broadside late this afternoon in Fort Worth, killing the man driving the vehicle. The accident occurred in southwest Fort Worth at a railroad crossing on South Hewlin Road next to Granbury. Witnesses say a number of drivers were trying to get across the tracks in front of the train. The first police officer on the scene said the man in the van apparently didn't see the train. The driver in the car ahead of him said he saw the vehicle stop right on the tracks.
He just didn't see the lights flashing or somewhere. He seen the lights and ignored it, and, you know, I don't know, you know, it devastated me, you know. He just slowed up like nothing was even coming. And the train just hit him.
The railroad crossing at Hewlett and Granbury has no drop arms to keep cars off the tracks when a train is approaching.
Still ahead tonight, the heat is on in school classrooms, and unlike last year, it will stay that way.
We'll find out why school systems are willing to pay the price to keep kids in school.
It's costing us a little more than it did last year, but we're still not on a high plan.
We'll explain what all that means to your child when our news continues. Well, now that winter is making its presence known, a lot of school districts are keeping the heat on in classrooms, unlike last year.
That's when cutbacks on heat resulted in some unexpected holidays for students and teachers. Texas News 5's Sherry Woodard is standing by live with a report on that, and personally can bring us up to date on the falling temperatures out there. Sherry?
Oh yes, Alice, I can personally, in a most regrettable way, bring you up to date on the conditions out here. First of all, I don't care what the thermometer says behind me. It feels like it is at least 10 degrees colder out here than what it is reading. And when the wind picks up like it's doing now, it feels like it's at least 20 to 30 degrees colder out here. But you know what? I don't know if you've ever noticed this, but a good indicator of how cold it is, and more importantly, how cold it will be, is children. You can go to any schoolyard and check out how many layers parents have their young one wrapped in, and that will give you an instant answer to the question, how cold is it? Now, last year when Old Man Winter hit Dallas-Fort Worth, a lot of little ones were kept out of school because there was no heat in the classrooms. School districts like Fort Worth, Garland, and Duncanville, to name a few, had a special contract with the gas company.
The schools are on a commercial rate, which is a low rate, realizing, of course, that if they have to curtail gas, we have to curtail gas and have to close the school.
But this year, some districts have opted to pay higher gas prices, so their gas won't be curtailed as much this winter as it was last winter.
It's costing us a little more than it did last year, but we're still not on a high plan.
The so-called high plan is what's used in the Dallas School District, and basically that means they pay much more than a lot of other districts. In exchange, their gas is never cut off, so there's always heat in DISD schoolrooms. Although they say they would like to be on the curtailment plan, they're willing to take the gamble that it just won't get that cold and the heat won't be cut off and students won't miss school as a result of it. Out here feeling what I'm feeling tonight, I don't know about that. The word for tomorrow is bundle up, whether you're a child going to school or an adult coming to work, or a reporter sent outside to talk about the weather conditions.
Standing out in the cold. Sherry, listen while we've got you very quickly. What's the situation in the Fort Worth Independent School District?
Fort Worth Independent School District, as far as I know, is going to pay a little bit more this winter, but they are still on the curtailment plan. Again, it's possible that some days their gas will be cut and there won't be school, but not as likely as it was last year.
Okay, thank you, Sherry. Now go find a warm spot somewhere, okay?
Thank you so much, Alice. Thank
okay,
you.
We'll see you tomorrow.
Bye-bye.
Makes me cold just looking at her. In just a few minutes, Harold, we'll have the overnight and early morning forecast.
Other matters in the news this evening. Today, the people of Czechoslovakia officially witnessed the start of a new non-communist government. The new government was officially sworn in today. Most of its members are not communists. This is a first for that country. Tomorrow, the new parliament will begin selecting a new president. The people celebrated in the streets as the new government got to work. President Bush said with all the changes in Eastern Europe, it's important not to forget about China. He made that comment today, defending his decision to send 2 top aides to China over the weekend. Critics accuse the president of sending out a signal that he's forgiving China for its bloody massacre this summer. You may recall that's when government troops moved in on hundreds of thousands of pro-democracy demonstrators gathered in Tiananmen Square. President Bush said he condemns that action, but he says also breaking U.S. talks with China is no way to achieve democracy in communist Soviet bloc countries.
The Air Force tried again today and successfully launched its Delta II rocket. Delta II will put into orbit a $65 million satellite. It'll be the 5th such satellite spanning the globe. It's designed to serve as a super compass of sorts for the military, telling units where they are in the world. Its accuracy, we're told, is within 53 feet. The Air Force yesterday tried to launch the rocket. It was hampered by a technical problem. Two medical pioneers are getting special attention tonight. Both live donor liver transplant patients. They're both recovering in critical condition at the University of Chicago Hospital. 22-month-old Alyssa Smith of Schertz, Texas, outside San Antonio, received part of her mother's liver at the end of last month. She was in surgery twice this weekend to stop bleeding. Doctors say that bleeding flare-up is not uncommon. The other patient is 16-month-old Serena Jones. She's from the Memphis area. She received part of her father's liver in an operation performed on Friday.
Well, coming up next in sports, the Kansas City Royals came up with a good pitch to land one of baseball's best young arms.
And the season may be winding down for the Cowboys, but the head coach is already looking forward to next year.
I think that we'll win ball games, and I think that we'll do some good things.
Stay tuned for sports.
Well, time running out for the Cowboys this season, but one of the saving graces is there's always next season, right? I guess they're already starting.
Thank goodness for that.
Well, 2 more weeks to go, and I don't think they'll admit it, but the season is getting a bit shorter. Cowboys do get another short work week to work with coming up. They lose to the Eagles yesterday, and now get ready for the Giants at the Meadowlands in New Jersey on Saturday. As Tom Murray tells us, that's not all the Cowboys are getting ready for.
Jimmy Johnson has put the coat on now.
They'll finish the season as the worst team in football for the second straight year. Not exactly a solid foundation for the Cowboys to build on, but the man who will be doing that building is bright-eyed about 1990.
I think our team's going to be significantly improved next year, but I don't see us having the advantage on some of our opponents. I think that we'll win ball games, and I think that we'll do some good things right off the bat.
But Johnson acknowledges that there's a big difference between doing good things and winning football games.
Right now, physically, we're not better, and in fact, physically, we're not as good as most of the teams that we play.
And until the rookies mature and the overall physical ability of the team improves, it's going to be a while before the loss record follows suit. But Johnson is convinced everyone can learn from this difficult season.
I do believe that all of the experiences that we're going through this year will pay off in the future, both the experience of the players and with our coaching staff.
We're going to get back on track, and there's no doubt in my mind that we're going to have an outstanding football team, at least within the next few years. I firmly believe that.
He's probably right, and so is Jimmy, but it's going to take time, a lot longer than Johnson thought when all this began nearly 1 year ago. Tom Murray, Texas News 5.
The Cowboys and the Eagles weren't the only teams yesterday which had to battle not only each other, but Mother Nature. It was definitely a Sunday number 14 to remember. In Buffalo, it snowed 2 inches on the Saints and the Bills. Not only that, these two teams had to struggle in the sub-zero temperature wind chill factor. Saints won the game, but lost in the long run. Because the Eagles beat the Cowboys, the Saints, with the 7-7 record, say so long to the playoffs. In Denver, yes, the Saints and the Bills also got a lot of the white stuff. The Giants won this contest, but they still haven't clinched a playoff spot. New York tied with Philadelphia for the lead in the NFC East, with the Eagles on top of the tie-breaking system. And if you thought the vet in Philly was the only place for snowballs and footballs yesterday, check out what Bengals coach Sam Weich did at Riverfront in Cincinnati. Unlike Buddy Ryan, Weich knows when enough is enough.
See anybody throw anything onto this field, point them out, or get them out of here. You don't let the Cleveland.
As you can see, Weich was a bit upset, but even more so after a rookie official's call cost the Bengals the ballgame against Seattle. Afterwards, this is what he told reporters.
Reviewed, and I'm sure explanations will be given to you later. No one is to talk to our players because we know how you will probe this one. I feel so sorry for them that they had to lose this way. It's really unfair, but it's nothing you can do about it. They deserve to win.
The bottom line is we lost the ball game. We had opportunities to win that game. We had opportunities to win it big, actually, and we didn't take advantage of it.
The Monday night contest has the best in the NFC West going head-to-head in Anaheim. Rams at one time led this game 17-0. The 49ers came back. They are now the third, and the Rams lead it by 14. NBA basketball news tonight. Roy Tarpley was supposed to have his day in court today to answer to driving while intoxicated charges. He'll have to wait now until the end of January. That's the word from his lawyer who wanted and received a new court date. The Mavs tonight have the night off. Tomorrow they play in Chicago. NBA highlights tonight take us to the Salt Palace in Utah. Jazz at home against Indiana, and that is Utah coach Jerry Sloan booted less than 2 minutes into the game. No, we can't believe it either. Cleveland on the break. Larry Nance to Steve Kerr, who stops and pops and connects for a 3. Cleveland by 6. But Utah is at home where you get all the good calls, like on this break where Karl Malone took about 6 steps. Jazz led by 1 at the half. They are now early in the 4th, and Utah leads it by 2, 77-75. News from Major League Baseball tonight is not good news for the Texas Rangers or anyone else in the American League West, except Kansas City. The Royals today announced the signing of 1989 National League Cy Young winner Mark Davis, who was a free agent in San Diego. Davis joins Brett Saberhagen in Kansas City, who just won the American League Cy Young.
A dream for me this Christmas was to get a Davis, and now we got 2 Davises. Unbelievable. Our pitching staff is the strongest in baseball right now. There's no doubt about it in my mind.
So there are a number of things other than just money, and I would like to say that's correct. I did not take the highest bidder, but I took the one that I felt, and I said this all along, was the best for Mark Davis and his family.
In case you are wondering, Cincinnati does not play in Cleveland again this year, unless they play in the playoffs, which, who knows?
Okay, thanks a lot. Turning out the weather, are you ready for temperatures that could dip into the teens tonight?
And wait till the winter's added in. Harold will have a lowdown on what's in store for us tonight and tomorrow when we come back.
Our channel has the photographer Angel out for the Christmas lights. It's the season, of course. And the temperature under cloudy skies right now is 28 degrees. That wind is 30 miles an hour out of the north. We see it gusts to 40 once in a while. But at 30 miles an hour with a 28-degree temperature, we have a wind chill of 2 below zero. You heard our reporter a while ago saying it seemed really colder than it's indicated. All right, let's see. 32 was the low, 41 was the high. But now that's all mixed up because that high temperature occurred just about midnight, and the National Weather Service gives it data midnight to midnight. 32 was the low, and that occurred during the afternoon when we normally have the high temperature. The normal range, 38 to 59, and last year was 39 to 43 and 6/100ths of an inch of light precipitation. I'm going to show you the radar right now before we do anything else, because there is a little something on it. We're starting to pick up a little area of snow down here north of Brownwood. This has increased in the last hour. There's an upper level disturbance right across through here, apparently giving the snow only in this area right now, but as it works its way on across, there are going to be some little scattered snow flurries around, more likely to the south of the Metroplex, but in any event, don't be too surprised if you see a little dusting on your car. But I think the wind's blowing so strong that it won't even stay as a dust on your car. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the satellite imagery if we can, and you can see the cloudiness across the state. Watch how it changes now. It's beginning to break from the northwest, but also, see, we're beginning to increase the intermediate cloudiness right down in this area. See it? Now watch. Watch it right here. See? And that will tend to drift on over. And it's from this, that's the upper air disturbance. And from that, we'll begin to get, I hate to say snow, but there'll be a flake or two. Here's what we're seeing now. And since I plotted this chart, this has popped up right in here around Brownwood. But see, it's beginning to clear back here to the northwest. Oklahoma City beginning to clear, and temperatures are quite cold. Wind still out of the north, of course. And here are some of the current readings as of 10 o'clock. 28 degrees at Meacham, Fort Worth, 30 Dallas Love. Of course, we're reading 28 here. 19 up at Oak City, 12 at Amarillo, 15 at Lubbock. They had a little snow there today, not much. And it's 32 at Austin, 34 that's Waco, Austin, 33 San Antonio, 41 Laredo, 50 at Brownsville, 44 at Corpus Christi, and 42 at Houston. An area of sleet and snow from over at Memphis across Tennessee. Some showers on down into the Gulf. Here's the center of high. It'll tend to work its way on to the east. It's more to come in from the west. And the wind flow in the upper levels. Here it is. We're going to continue to bring colder air down into our area, but it is moving out faster than the air is moving into it, so it's going to tend to flatten out just a little bit. And I don't think after tomorrow morning, that'll probably be the peak of the cold, at least for a day or two anyway. Temperatures, current readings as of 10 o'clock. We're seeing right now warm, very strong winds, some places out in California, 75 or 100 miles an hour. 12 at Denver, 30 at DFW, 2 below at Omaha, 40 and windy 37 in New York, and it's cold down in Miami, 66, and rainy and cold in New Orleans, it's 64 there. Forecast in the morning, about 19. Skies should be beginning to clear just a bit. Then by afternoon, we don't get any warmer than 37. We'll have some high clouds, and the weather be pretty ugly along the east coast, southeast, and up in the north. But outside right now, it's just overcast here, and the wind is out of the north. There you can see it. It's 30 miles an hour, sometimes stronger. The barometer 30.29. It's 28 degrees. The humidity 47%. We've had no precipitation, and on the radar, a little area of light snow may or may not be reaching the ground down there around Brownwood. And on the forecast, well, we're going to call for about 19 in the morning. Wind 15, 20 miles an hour. Wind chill minus 7. Get up to 37 before the day is over. Then partly cloudy, cold and windy again on the Wednesday, but low near 20, 22, 23, up to about 40.
Yeah, when you hear that wind chill, that just really brings it home, doesn't it?
All the way up to 40.
Not a good night for the heater to break down.
No.
Thank you, Harold. Still ahead on Texas News 5. It may not look like much right now, but an early Christmas present will help turn this area into something kind of wild.
And no clowning around. This couple was hoping to make some magic and got a little carried away at the courthouse today. Stay tuned.
The Dallas Zoological Society got a $500,000 boost for its new Wilds of Africa exhibit today. The Meadows Foundation gave zoo officials a grant for $530,000. The money is earmarked for the Safari Studies Building, African artwork, and lighting. Officials from Meadows and the zoo wrapped up the presentation by planting a magnolia tree, one of the first to be planted in the exhibit. The Wilds of Africa is slated to open in the spring.
And finally tonight, it wasn't the sound of Christmas bells, rather the sound of wedding bells that could be heard in a Metroplex courtroom today, which in and of itself is not all that unusual. Until you take into account the fact that these are the two getting married. Actually, it's very appropriate. Brian Bloodworth is a magician, and that became evident when he found out he was in a no-smoking courtroom. His betrothed, Debbie Spann, as you might have guessed, is a professional clown. The two were married today by Dallas Justice of the Peace Fletcher Freeman. Love and the smell of grease paint were in the air. Now, Debbie may be more comfortable in a 3-ring circus, but it's a sure bet today's double-ring ceremony made even a clown smile an awful lot bigger than normal.
Guess they'll have some great wedding pictures to show off to their friends one of these days.
Sure they will.
That's our report for this Monday night. Thanks for being with us.
We'll see you tomorrow night at 6. Until then, for Harold, Al, and the entire Texas News 5 team, good night.
Good night.
This has been Texas News 5, the 10 o'clock report. Recognized by the Associated Press and the United Press International for having the best newscast in Texas.